It is the end of the 2024 season here. And I have done a bunch of YouTube live. I broadcasted live a lot of the playoff games. I'm just doing a quick recap here because those things are really long. I do a few games at a time. It's like an hour and a half, and it's a lot of fun when people chime in and watch along. But it's been a bit since I did an actual video, and this is just in case people are watching and don't, understandably don't feel like watching the hour and a half simulations and want to know what happened here in the 2024 postseason. So this is going back a little bit, but won the wild card game over the Indians and then knocked off the White Sox in the ALDS 3-1. The White Sox had been to the World Series 2 straight years. They'd won a World Series and one of the better teams in the league the last few years. So that was big to be able to knock them off. They're a really tough team. And then went into the ALCS and lost to the Jays. It was an AL East versus AL East ALCS. Lost to them 4-2, and then they went on to lose to the Padres. The Padres, good to see them break through as a Manny Machado fan. Manny isn't a major part. He's not their star anymore, Tatis and guys like that. And Eric Hosmer is old and incredibly below average, but won the World Series MVP. So just for a quick recap on what happened with the O's and the ALCS and the playoffs as a whole, here in the ALCS, was up 2-1, and then the offense went dead and the pitching slowly fell apart. Just everything went wrong. The offense didn't do well in game 4 and we lost. And then game 5, we lost 6-1, but it was a close game through 6, and then the bullpen fell apart. And more on that in a minute. And then, did I say game 6? That was game 5 is what I meant. Not sure which one I said. And then game 6 was just a total blowout. Vlad Jr. hit 3 home runs in his first 3 at bats. It wasn't good. I think we gave up 6 home runs in the game. And so kind of where it all fell apart, I guess, we were hanging tough. It was here in the 7th inning of the 5th game. And Asa Lacy gave us 6 strong innings, and then the bullpen just fell apart. So Lacy went 6, 1 run, and really he pitched outstanding in this series, and we lost both games he pitched. Game 1, he went 7 2/3, 3 hits, no runs, no walks, 10 Ks, and lost in extra innings. And then game 5, 6 innings, not as sharp, 6 hits, 2 walks, a run, 5 Ks. But, over as a whole, he, went, I think, 13 2/3 and gave up a run and struck out 15 in the series. 2 really great outings, and we didn't get a win out of either one, which is that's tough to overcome when you waste 2 great starts like that. And then just a quick rundown of why is this on pitching stats? Well, it's not going to help us here. And just a quick rundown of who did what in the postseason. And here we go. For some reason, this reset from the last time I was looking at it. And just sort by runs created plus here. These guys were just quick pinch hit appearances. Matan, Grenier, and Marchand hardly played. So Gio Urshela is fantastic. And then just, like everybody, didn't do much the last few games. So he finished with a runs created plus of 157, which, is elite. But a lot of that was in the wild card game, the ALDS. As you can see here, in the last 5 games, he had 3 hits in, 7, 10, 15, 19 at bats, I think. So 3 for his last 19 and still managed to be elite overall, but just went cold down the end. Gunnar Henderson, the rookie shortstop, who had a solid rookie season, really stepped up in the playoffs. He was awesome. Edmund, Mountcastle, Verdugo, they were all fine, but nobody caught fire among that group, which would have been nice. And then from there is just a disaster. Buxton was really bad. Hayes was awful. Trevor Larnach was, after a mediocre season, terrible in the playoffs, which is concerning because he was a really good designated hitter for me the last 2 years. Hopefully it's just a 1-year blip. And then Adley Rutschman, same story, disappointing year at the plate, and then just an atrocious playoffs. 44 plate appearances, didn't have an extra base hit, had a few singles. He hit 119 and slugged 119 on base of 159. Just, this Buxton, we know is going to be not a great hitter. Hopefully he's going to be better than that, but he's in there for his glove. But Hayes, Larnach, and Rutschman all being that bad is just hard to overcome, especially when Urshela had been our best hitter and just really cooled off. So, and then on the pitching side of things, Asa Lacy we covered. He was great. Jack Flaherty had 2 starts. One against Chicago, in which the team won, which was a little rough, and then he was great. Actually, and won a game against Toronto. Went 7 1/3, 5 hits, a run. So he had one okay start and one really good start. German Marquez had two solid starts, one against the White Sox, one against Toronto, and then in Game 6 he started in that blowout and fell apart. Only lasted 2 2/3, gave up 3 home runs, 5 runs. It wasn't good. Luis Castillo got a couple starts and was solid. Dio Hall gave us 9 2/3 in relief. Struck out 15.8 per nine. At one point, I think he had struck out 7 straight guys over 2 straight appearances. So he's our number 5 starter in the regular season. Was just awesome in relief. Jordan Hicks, just a weird small sample size thing. 9 innings. His ERA was 7.00, but his FIP was 0.60. He struck out 17 guys per nine, but batting average on balls in play was 526. Like, that's just the kind of stuff that can happen in the postseason. Connor Jones was fine and solid, but gave up a couple hits in big moments, which was disappointing. Feltman, again, just a small sample thing, 7 2/3, but was awful. And he was probably my best reliever over the season, but a 7.04 ERA and a 9.25 FIP. Bad time of year to run into a cold streak from your best reliever. Bradley ended up getting more innings as I used Feltman less and was solid. Grayson Rodriguez pitched and was good, and Will Smith, Chafin didn't really use them. So that's kind of how the postseason played out. The Padres won. Disappointing to not get it done, but that's what can happen over the course of a few games. Everybody goes cold at the wrong time. And so my next post will be the kind of off-season planning post, which I think I've said before, my favorite, as I kind of go through the offseason and try to reshape the team and come back next year. And I have, just as a kind of a preview, I have a lot of interesting decisions to make. As you can see, 2 of the top 3 projected free agents, Verdugo and Marquez, are Orioles. And I kind of need to be mindful of, given that the O's don't have the biggest payroll, of who I'm committing long-term money to. With a bunch of young players are going to be needing long-term contracts at some point here in the next couple of years, but also trying to be competitive now. And can I keep Verdugo? Can I keep Marquez? I think there might be a way I can keep both, but I'm going to have to make some painful decisions to make that happen if I'm able to. So that'll be super interesting. I haven't really planned out the whole off season, but I've got some ideas of what I'm going to try to do. And in my next post, I will get into that.